I got big wet, bust up on my sweatpants, zero. I got all this built up, been trying to take the edge off. I'm still off the urges, that's my vibe, out that meds off. Put away you cool with that fire, wake up.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the 5th episode of the Amateur Hour podcast. We've got a special guest today here. His name is Quann, one of my best friends, roommates in college, sophomore year. Sophomore, my memory's bad. Sophomore.
Damn near freshman year.
Yeah. So today's sponsor for the podcast is the Ole Miss Rebels after that win on this weekend. Do you watch the game?
Hell yeah, man.
That was I didn't even get to watch it, man. That was at the state fair.
Hey, it was a pretty good game. They was going head to head.
Yeah.
Hey, but the Rebels hung on when they needed to.
What did you think they were going to score that 2-point?
No. Well, I
you're a better fan than me.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a tough one. That was.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Dude, I was keeping
I'm glad
up.
them motherfuckers did.
Me too, man. Because I was tracking it on my phone. I was at the fair with Haley and Taylor, my siblings, and of course the UT OU game was going on there at the Cotton Bowl, and I was keeping up with that one on my phone and the Ole Miss game, and I saw it was 52-51 with 1 second left. I saw a 2-point conversion. I was like, this is how we lose, huh? This is how we're gonna do it. We're gonna Ole Miss it if anyone ever has.
That would have been some Ole Miss shit.
Dude, I know. I know. I was ready, especially against Arkansas, but hey.
Man, I was watching the game at work, dude. I have the luxury of having TVs in the store.
Oh yeah,
so
I guess you do.
I was watching that, and then my Braves was playing Alcorn. They pulled it off. It was homecoming. So
shout out Alcorn too. You had a cousin that played there and family?
Shit, that's my family school right there, man. So
that's big time.
Basically where I was raised. So they've been doing good in the SWAC.
Yeah. So talk about that. You're from Natchez, Mississippi, correct?
Finished school in Natchez. Yeah. Pretty much.
High school.
Yeah. And I'm originally I was raised in Port Gibson, where Alcorn is, and
oh, so y'all big Alcorn fan.
And so, but then 10th grade, I decided to go live with my dad, and that's where I finished school in Natchez at Cathedral.
Gotcha.
Shout out to Cathedral High School.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. It was fun because I had lived with my parents had me young, and had always lived with my mom. And I decided to, 10th grade, I was like, listen, Mom, I love you, but I'm ready to go stay with my dad. Yeah. So, and that was she wasn't ready to hear that, but
yeah. How old did you say you were?
Out. We had been talking about it my whole, maybe end of 8th grade, whole entire 9th grade year, and then decided to officially move with them that summer. I finished 9th grade. So
I guess, we can start here, but what was that like for you? You said your parents had you early, what were they, 17, 18?
Yep, straight out of high school.
Yeah.
It was an interesting upbringing, because my mom and dad are completely polar opposites in many ways, and in many ways they are alike.
Yeah.
But it was cool. My mom was a single mother. I have a younger brother, and I define my mom as a woman that always made her way. No matter what. We never had it all.
Yeah.
But when she had it, me and my brother had it.
Yeah.
And so it was hard, honestly, to be real. It was, at least me seeing her go through shit, struggling. Yeah. And then one reason, I think, when I decided to move with my dad, it was, when I think about it now, at a young age, it was something had clicked in me where I was like, hey, in a way, I think I kind of felt for one reason, I kind of felt like I was maybe doing my mom a favor.
By going to live with your dad?
Yeah, because anytime, I would need something or financially or just anything. It was my dad who was, providing the, the extreme for me. So I was like, damn, well, okay, well, maybe this is the person I need to go live with. Not saying that, like, my mom didn't do anything.
Yeah.
But, like, it was just like, hey, maybe this would work out for the best. And it did, It really did. Moving with my dad is, like, one of the best decisions I've made in my life so far.
Yeah. Y'all are still close, too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad and my mom, like, I grew up with them. Being that they had me early, like, I grew up with them.
Yeah,
and
that's a good way to put it. You grew up with them.
I grew up with them, man. And they're some characters though. But that was my folks. So it was cool. Like, and then
you moved out on your own Ole Miss, huh?
Yeah. My dad and my stepmom took me up to Oxford that summer, like August, before moving, and dropped my ass off.
See you later.
They literally only came to Oxford that one time when I moved up there, and the second time was for my probate when I crossed Alpha. And so that was it, man. They just left me out there, and I had to fend for myself, bro.
Yeah. Hey, we had your back, me and Nick. Hey. Shout out Nick. I remember we had some speaker, bro. We was always listening to R&B, always. I bet so many dudes on the floor thought we were freaking weirdos.
I was like,
we were jamming it.
I was like, man, I ain't never met no white boy that listened to the jams like that. I was like,
bro, dang. I promise. And I'm like I said, I'm sure, like, and it's kind of a longer part of the conversation, I guess, but like, I think I came in and kind of quickly established that I wasn't like many other people. Yeah. Not in a negative way or like a cocky or arrogant way or anything at all, but like I just different, Yeah. Like
outside that too, man.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just I was doing me, and that's why I think Nick and I really got along and get along as well as we do. We're both very unapologetically ourselves.
Right.
And like I mean, same thing with you. Like we just got to be comfortable in your skin and going from, Tyler, East Texas and stuff, and going out of state where I knew one other person. Shout out Foster too. Like, that's all I knew. My mom, like that. I think that's one thing I definitely get from her is just like
cooking.
Yeah.
I know her cooking.
She always brought the chocolate chip, the peanut butter crackers covered in chocolate. Those things would be gone. I bring them back from any trip. They'd be just ravaged by like day 2. And there'd be like 70 of them in there.
I used to feel so bad. I was like, damn.
No, man, they're too good. They're for the people. That's why my mom did it. But that was freshman year. We roomed together. Sophomore year. That's when you were really going through all of the pledging and stuff. We won't talk much about that process and stuff. But living with you during that, it's like, bro, you were on the grind.
Yeah. Like
you were grinding, and I don't know, comparatively from that level of work and stuff and energy expenditure as compared to anything else you've ever done, where would you rank that time in your life in terms of just like being in it?
The best. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to get back there now as far as
really?
Discipline, man, because you remember I started working. Now I was in the best shape of my life, on top of studies as well, and just campus life, getting involved. Yeah. And it was a lot all at once because, like I said, like I went to Ole Miss, and so my family, honestly, I can say that maybe before 10th grade, I never would have thought I was going to go to Ole Miss, the University of Mississippi, because it was always a negative picture because like. All my family went to HBCUs, Alcorn State. Although, like my granddad, he went to after he finished at Alcorn. He got a PhD from. He got his master's from University of Florida. Then he got his PhD from LSU. But predominantly HBCUs in my family, and so I just like my dad or my granddad would always be like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna go to Alcorn one day," and I used to be like, "Yeah, maybe so." But because I never really. It's crazy because. Like, although I love that school, like, I consider myself an honorary Braid. Yeah. But I never, because I always wanted more. Not saying that it wasn't enough, but I wanted to be exposed to many different
something
things.
else, yeah.
Something else.
Yeah.
And so because I had basically grew up there all my life.
That's a good point.
You know, every home football game we're there. But like Ole Miss, of course, you know, it has its bad history.
Yeah.
And that's just something that wasn't like until I decided to I visited Ole Miss one weekend for a football game. Me and RJ and a few more of our friends, we came.
Shout out RJ too, wherever that guy's at.
We went up there one weekend, stayed with my boy Mez, who was already in school there. Mez lives here now. He's an officer for Addison Police Department, so shout out to my guy.
Good for him, man.
But he went to the same high school, and I didn't even know because when I got to Cathedral, he had already graduated. He was maybe like
he's ahead of you.
Yeah. And so I was like, damn, you know, at the time he was living there, like they called it University Trails or something like that. And we stayed at his pad, went to the game, went out a little bit, you know, explored the campus also a little bit. I was like, wow, like.
Yeah.
And from that weekend, I was like, I am coming to freaking
That's what's up.
Like, there was no doubt in my mind that was the place I belonged. And like, then I remember probably telling my dad after that. He was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, he's like, where'd that come from?
Where did that come from? But I was like, man, I was amazed with the place, dude.
Yeah.
It worked out. Like,
yeah.
Went to Oxford, man.
It always does, man. And that's something, you know, touching on that, you obviously, you know, and knew kind of growing up, Ole Miss's history in a lot of ways, and even the current climate in a lot of areas and stuff. And that was some freshman year. You know, one of my buddies, Jared Maddox, shout out Jared. He came freshman year. I don't know if you remember him. But he was telling his mom, he's like, hey, I'm gonna go visit Spence at Ole Miss and stuff. And she was like, I don't know. You know, she was worried about it and concerned. And he was telling me that. I was like, bro, like that's messed up, man.
Yeah.
You know, and like I felt away because obviously I went there and stuff. And it was just like, it's like, that's wild. That made me feel a way about the place that I was at. Like I had a close black friend, his mom saying like, I don't know if I'm comfortable with you going there. It's like, that opened my eyes at a very early stage, and I was like, dang.
That's that's the perception that my community has but it goes along with a lot of things, man. Like you cannot judge a book from its cover because to see Ole Miss, to see it is to live it, and which is exactly what happened to me. And I can honestly say that in my entire, college years, I didn't. I could maybe say I felt like I was targeted once.
Yeah.
From my time there. No, we're not gonna go into detail what it's about.
We're gonna get into it.
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was a crazy experience. But hey, I didn't let it get to me.
Yeah.
Because it's still much more than that. And since we're on this topic of Ole Miss, I would say that Ole Miss is one of the most inclusive universities out there in Mississippi, I would say. Yeah. Or at least is it's perceived as, and they're doing the work that they need to do in order to be more inclusive. Yeah. And so I honestly think, Ole Miss has its racist history, but Ole Miss allowed me to become even more intertwined with my community. Yeah. Because I came from a high school, although I went to predominantly black public school, and then I transitioned to a predominantly white Catholic school. Yeah. And so and then I went to Ole Miss. And so I'm like, okay, well, it wasn't a huge transition for me. Now, had I came straight from that public school to Ole Miss, then it probably would have been something to adjust to. But I had already been, around predominantly white people. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, well, But then at a certain point, the older you get, like I said, I became more involved in campus. I knew I wanted to pledge Alpha Phi Alpha. which is the first Black intercollegiate fraternity.
Shout out Alphas. Shout out all the Alphas, man.
Shout out to New Upsilon. Fall 16, man. And that part is what being a part of the D9 is something that I was exposed to at Quann and in my family. Like there's, D9 members all throughout my family. And so I knew that that was something that I wanted to achieve. To be an alpha, you have to not only, stand for something, but you have to also have a lot of other attributes if you want to be in the house. And so that's what made me want to get more involved on campus and just network and meet people, man.
Yeah.
But
That's something kind of interesting. You said it at that point in your life, that was like the hardest. You were grinding, like you were taking all this stuff serious and stuff, and you're really going out and just kind of getting it and stuff. And it's kind of interesting to look at. A lot of times, a lot of it has to do with your environment. Like especially in like if you look at like the team settings, like athletic teams. I like going back to athletic kind of parallels and stuff. Like if you're in the weight room and like everybody's just repping it out and stuff and grinding and stuff and everybody's trying their best, like you're gonna feel like oh well, I need to get better, so I can fit around these people that are also getting better. But like you're not gonna do that if everybody around you is being lazy and not doing anything. You're gonna like you are the average of like the 4 or 5 people that are closest to you. So like keeping that type of company, I think is especially is a huge part of that challenge. And also all of it really is mental. Like the older I get and stuff and the more I look at things and really start to analyze them and stuff and I really evaluate myself, like almost everything really is just a mental game. Like even working out and stuff, all that's mental. You got to be disciplined. You got to force yourself to get in the game. You got to there's a book by I can't think of his name. So everybody watching is gonna know. His name's blanking me right now. But like I read his book, and during that I was like, man, like this dude is a psycho. Yeah. Like he's that level of like of overcoming his obstacles and his mental barriers and stuff, and like taking that perspective and approaching things from that light. Like
that's crazy how you said psycho because it's like wow,
it's that much different.
It's someone, but like. It's crazy how like some people view people who are like really disciplined as psycho. Yeah, like,
David Goggins, that's his name, David Goggins. Yeah.
Like, but damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
As you said that, I just wanted to touch on that. But like, when you have your mind focused and disciplined, then versus the average person, they're thinking like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they're like, and a lot of times it even kind of turns them off from you. Like if you're that dedicated and that focused on something, people look at you like, I don't really want to hang with it. Like he's too serious or something. Like he's chasing something too hard and stuff. But it kind of comes from the same deal. Like to be different, you gotta be different. Right. You can't do what everybody else is doing and expect to be better than everybody else. Exactly. That's relying too much on your own kind of like your own innate traits, I guess, and stuff. But that also kind of ties in like you gotta get there. You gotta get there mentally to that place and stuff. And like that for me, I'm finding kind of as I mature and start to look at things a different way and stuff, like you gotta really find yourself and find what's important to you and what you want out of life and stuff. Like that's not gonna just appear for you. You can't just be sitting around one day and be like, this is what I'm gonna do, and then you just go get it. Like it's an intentional process, I think, and taking time and really like sitting down and be like, all right, this is what I want, and even finding what you want takes time. But like being intentional in that process and stuff, and like and learning from your experiences and stuff. Like I look back at Ole Miss and stuff, and like all of the things that I learned, like I reflect on them and be like, okay, what did I learn from all these situations and stuff, and how is that going to help me moving forward? Right. And there's a quote from a book I read recently, and so there's no such thing as pain without a purpose. So anytime you're going through anything, like it's not just, the point of it isn't just to hurt you, like it's to make you better in some way or teach you something. And like there's you gotta learn from things and even learn from other people's pain. Because if you don't learn from their pain, you're going to be finding yourself in the same exact situation as they are, learning from it firsthand. Right. And if you don't pay attention to it, then it's going to keep on trying to teach it to you. So like that's part of the growth process and stuff. And like you said, like I was grinding at this point and I had all my stuff figured out, but new levels, new devils, right? It's time to elevate.
Exactly.
Like you're not going to be in the same place, but you want to get back to that same level of focus and intentionality.
You know, a lot of shit is easier said than done.
Yep. And everything is, man. All of this stuff
is.
this mind work.
Everything is. And like you said, like I really feel like Ole Miss equipped me to be able to maneuver throughout this crazy life, man, and be able to, like I said, when I went to Ole Miss, folks dropped me off and that was it.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And then I moved out here to Dallas, you know, and just completely, you know, a whole new environment.
Yep.
You know, and being able to adjust. And one thing that I feel like, you know, I was able to make a mark at the university, although it may not, I'm not, you know, not notorious for much there. Yeah. But like I feel like I left my mark there.
You did what you had. You did you know, you were you.
And that's what I feel like I'm trying to do now today here with living in the DFW, trying to you know, establish myself as far as like career and many other things. Yeah. Man.
And that's a good way of kind of looking at it and stuff. You know, you said like you felt like you made your impact and stuff, and you did everything you felt. You made your world feel changed to you, right. and that's something a lot of people be like, like you changed everything in my world, or like you changed, like you're like, oh, what's he talking about stuff, but it doesn't matter from their perspective. Like just because maybe you didn't touch them in a certain way doesn't mean you didn't touch everyone else, you know. Right. Like in I think something a lot of times get lost on, like people want to change like everything all at once and stuff, but like for me at least right now it's all about planting just little individual seeds, you know. Like if I'm talking to somebody or something, like and I've taken, I'm kind of getting off track here a little bit, but like I've taken a little bit of a step back, I think, in terms of my mentality and like in my mental headspace in the past, like I don't know, past couple months or so, just because like I mean life happens, you know, it gets crazy sometimes and stuff, but being intentional about like the kind of energy that you're carrying and stuff, and like that can change people's perspective about anything too. You like, you know, if you're so positive and just kind of upbeat and like, you know, just flowing through things and stuff, someone might look at you and be like, dang, like how's he do that? You know, how's he do it like that and stuff? And like for me, there's a spiritual undertone to it too. Like I want people to look at me and feel kind of that energy and stuff, and feel kind of accepted and not judged, and be like, where is that coming from? You know, because I mean, for me, it's not from me. And a lot of the reason for my, I think, regression in terms of my mentality and stuff is like I've taken a step back in terms of being in the Bible and stuff and praying every day and stuff. And I mean that's part of the journey, I think.
Yeah. I definitely feel that, man. Yeah. I feel myself getting a little bit stronger in faith, and at least accepting it and wanting to allow it to do what, you know, it's supposed to do when you're carrying your faith. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And that can be tough. And like you said, and I don't know if you checked out any of our other episodes, but I said in one of them, the one with Emily, I said like my main theme for this year is to allow things to happen and stuff. Right. And while it takes intentionality to allow things to happen. At the same time, it takes being intentional, hands off. You know, I read a quote the other day that said, patience is also being active. Right. And like, I like that because like allowing things to happen, that's an intentional process. You know, you aren't just chilling, like not caring about anything. Like you're caring enough to realize that you can't manipulate every situation. You can't make everything happen.
You only have so much control, man.
Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to ask you. You know, you said, like coming here and moving to Dallas and stuff, it seems like kind of a leap of faith, right? Was that like planned out? Did you were like, I'm moving to Dallas, or like what happened?
And that's why I feel like I just said, like I am getting, like I'm just I am doing my best to just accept the fact that things are not going to always happen the way you want them to, but like at the end of the day, they'll work out eventually.
Yep.
Once I got like maybe like my junior, senior year, you know, you're getting close to the end of college, you're thinking about what you want to do, where you want to live, and I was like, I knew I wanted to move out here to the DFW.
Yeah.
Mainly because like my cousins, my close cousins Jessica and Jeremy were out here.
Yep.
And so I was like, wow, those are two people that, you know, that I really love, and I know that, hey, if I ever need something, I have that to fall back on. And then I knew that you were gonna come back out here.
Yep.
And then, like, maybe a year before I moved out here, Jaron, my cousin Jaron, the one that played for Alcorn, he moved out here. That he used to come and kick it with us.
Yep.
I was like, wow, okay, maybe this like,
decent crew out there.
Yeah, I can kick it out there in Dallas.
Yeah.
And then, what was that, spring semester, like January, February, my last semester, I got the job to work with Bloomberg.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, okay. And
pretty
they
big
wanted
time.
me to move out here.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, well, I guess, you know, the stars are aligning. And I was like, hey,
pay attention to them.
Packed up Oxford and moved out here. And, you know, just been here ever since. So, like, in a way, you know, I had the intentions of moving out here.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it would be that soon.
Yeah.
So, hey. So in a way, it was intentional and unintentional. It was short and sweet.
Yeah.
You know how campaigns are. Mr. Bloomberg, shout out to you for the opportunity. You may not know me. I was just a little guy on the campaign, but
making your impact. Like I said, planting seeds.
Right. It was definitely one of the coolest, and you know, it was worth moving here, and it was a cool opportunity, man.
Yeah.
It was a cool experience, man. Met a lot of cool people, and I might, who knows, I might hop back on campaigns one day if it turns out to be as beneficial and lucrative as that one was.
Man, so what's the main thing, your main takeaway from that, I guess, from your experience there?
From my, that's a good question. My main takeaway is to, I haven't thought about that.
See,
I don't.
That's why we're here.
I would say, I would have to say people. I would say, like, you know, meet as many people as you can and connect. I should have although I met a few people and made connections, I should have connected a little bit more with the higher ups.
A bit more intentional about it.
You know, because, you know, had I done that, you know, they would have been people that would, you know, come back and look for me for if, you know, someday, you know, the next, you know, 3 years from now, the next presidential race.
Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. You know, because those people, they go back and forth. They've been working on campaigns. That's their career job, you know. Yeah. And so they are always, when campaign season comes around, they're on someone's campaign. And so, hey, but I don't know, dude. Like he said, like we're all still trying to figure out shit.
Man, for sure.
But I like politics.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I don't know, I guess that could be one of my many side hustles, you know.
For sure.
But and although I may not work in politics, but, you know, having those connections could be beneficial in the long run. So
yeah. And that's somewhere you and I think are very different. Like, I don't care about politics at all. Like, it's not something I pay attention to. I think I'm focused more so, you know, I mean, that's obviously some people's strong suit. That's what they're meant to do and stuff. I just, it's a lot to me is very grimy. Not a lot of it is very, very genuine, and especially like it's a lot of manipulation, a lot of all this stuff, and like the way people treat people in a lot of those areas and stuff is just like it's all gross to me. Like I don't even watch the news, man, and I'm sure like I could be better about that and being more informed and stuff, but like I don't know, it is
something. Although I don't think you should have if you don't have any interest in it, that's fine. But I think you should always be aware.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's
I'm just not good
that's
at it.
like my main focus. Like my main the way I stay involved is just being aware. Like, because like you said, they're major manipulators. They're major. They're grimy. They're sleazy. They're only out for themselves. Yeah. And so
they only want whatever position they want. But whatever it takes to get them there.
Those people are in charge of our livelihoods.
Yeah.
So if you are not at least aware of what's going on, then you can be fucked. You can curse.
Okay. Go for it.
You're gonna be fucked and not know it.
Yeah.
Like, and then
you don't know what's going on. Then you're gonna be pissed when you had a chance to vote and stuff on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's voting is the atmosphere that our country in right now is crazy. How I'm reading, I stole this book from my dad, and it's called the last battle of the Civil War.
Mm-hmm. You posted that the other day, didn't you?
I probably did.
Yeah, I think you posted like an excerpt from it.
It's about Reconstruction after in Mississippi, Louisiana, mainly Mississippi and Louisiana, and maybe a little bit of Alabama.
Yeah.
But we learned about the Civil War, we learned about Reconstruction and all of that in school, but reading this book, I've never gotten as much details about Reconstruction and all that. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's crazy to see how from freaking 1860 and we are in freaking 2021, how similar the political atmosphere still is.
That's interesting.
Now, maybe not as violent and just blatant. I don't know. It is very blatant also right now. But like, as far as like voting and this issue with the elections, one side saying that the election was stolen and
all that's crazy
all that
too.
Jazz.
All that's crazy.
It's like, Black people after Reconstruction were, once we got our rights, we were able to vote. But then there was like this wave which consisted of like, voter intimidation and Jim Crow laws and stuff. Yeah. Where we were basically, our lives were always threatened if we.
Don't matter what you do.
Vote. And so I look at that, the past, and I'm like, we've come a long way, but like, hey, if it's my right, because my ancestors fought to
have that ability to do it. That makes sense.
And so it's like, damn, the least I can do is
exercise that right.
Exercise it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But
that leads into kind of another conversation I wanted to touch on is, we mentioned earlier, like, as funny as it may seem and stuff, like Nick and I listening to R&B freshman year in the dorm and stuff, like what's obviously the tone and the energy at Ole Miss is, I felt like it was pretty divided while we were there, and like especially kind of towards the end and stuff, at least between a lot of the white people and a lot of the black community and stuff. So what are some things that they call it being an ally for us white folk? What do white people do a lot of times that like can be a red flag or like can be something that's like maybe viewed as offensive or like gets your guards up whenever a white person does something that they might not realize, if that makes sense?
I would have to say I would just have to say the fact of just being oblivious to being oblivious to what has happened in this country in the past, and what's currently happening.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that you don't see or you don't know what the other half, like
Yeah.
the other predominant race goes through or has been through in this world. As far as Ole Miss, you say you're saying that it seemed pretty divided. Like,
At least, especially in, not to cut you off, but especially like being in some of the circles and stuff. I don't want to get too specific or anything, but being in some of the circles and hearing a lot of these conversations and stuff, and I mean, a lot of it is kind of how you were raised and stuff, but like you can't, like, you can only plead ignorance for so long.
I think that
I
has
feel like
a lot to do with the university.
Yeah.
And it's their intentions of, you know, making progress and progression and figuring out ways to unite the student body and not have that perception that we're divided.
Yeah.
We are divided at the University of Mississippi in many ways.
Yeah.
As far as circles, as far as organizations.
I agree, man.
As far as student life.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, but in a lot of ways, it's not like, I don't think it's not intentional division.
Yeah.
It is just the way that the university operates, and it's just the way that things are set up.
Yeah.
Now, in many ways, I feel like I would have to say, as far as, since I am a part of Greek life and so are you.
Yeah.
I think some things are just meant for some people.
Yeah.
And some things
For
are just
sure.
meant for
Yeah,
some people.
absolutely.
You know,
and that's perfectly
everything-
fine. Yeah.
Yes, everything is not for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, and I think that is as far as Greek life.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the university can do a lot with, you know, trying to unite each other, and I think they are making progress with inclusivity, because they're like, I had a lot of friends that were, you know, black friends that were heavily involved in campus life, and honestly, I feel like, at least my years at the university, there were probably more, like, at least, you know, those people that are like big university representatives.
Yeah.
They're mainly black.
Yeah.
And so
They did a really good job of that as well later.
And so I was like, you know, that was cool to see, amazing. A lot of groundbreaking things happened while we were at the university, as far as like the Confederate flag being taken down off campus, and you know, a lot of people uniting around that brought, I think that did a lot of healing.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot more other things, but I think how I would say what I think is, as far as the black community at Ole Miss, we need each other. We need it, like, you know, being that it is a predominantly white institution.
Yeah.
But you need that sense of belonging and that sense of, hey, these people are here, we have each other.
Yeah.
You know, but hey, me, I you know, I have the ability of knowing both sides and being able to see each point of view, and being able to just see people, like, you know, like, I was able to, you know, I have friends of all, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you live with two white dudes sophomore year. Yeah.
So it's like, you know.
Yeah.
People are people, man, and like it's especially at Ole Miss, it's just like, you know, you want to make sure that you are safe and understood.
Yeah.
That's why we have the BSU there, Black Student Union. Like, we want to make sure that we are heard and not overlooked, and that basically we have just as much as right to be here at the university than any other person.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
exactly.
saying?
Just as
So
just
shout
the
out
same
to
as
James
anybody
Meredith
else.
for integrating that motherfucker.
My so funny story about that. I won't. I guess I'll tiptoe around some specifics, but I know some people who were on campus at the time of James Meredith and while he was walking down
Wow.
campus, and I'm sure, you can put two and two together about who those people might be,
Yeah.
but they were white and walking on the sidewalk and stuff. It's interesting to hear what they had to say about that, and while they were growing up around that, and especially walking by, a certain individual said that she was upset that she had to step off of the curb into the street to allow him to walk by, because I guess he had other people around him, or I don't know.
He had the freaking
security or some FBI. I don't know who.
The National Guard.
National
Follow him
Guard.
to
That's
classes.
crazy. First of all, that's a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. But like, she was she was kind of upset about that, having to step off. She was like,
Yeah.
But
I mean, and that goes back to how you were raised and
yeah,
basically what although it's not right, but given a time
Dude.
period, it's understood. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So,
yeah,
but that's Mississippi, man. And that's also a part of like people that we went to school with. You know,
yeah, for sure.
going back to you saying how you felt like we're divided in a way. People come to the University of Mississippi for pretty specific reasons.
Yeah,
Yeah. I would, because I met people that were from New York or Cali, and I used to be like, what? Why?
Yeah,
why
what brought you here? Yeah,
what brought you to freaking Mississippi?
Yeah,
And it was all about mainly wanting to get the Southern experience. And so that in itself says a lot.
Yeah.
But hey, like I said, I freaking love Ole Miss.
Oh man, me too. Me too. As much as I'm sure it's sounding like to anyone who didn't go or hasn't been involved in Ole Miss or anything, it sounds like we're kind of we're being pretty critical of it. But I mean, there's nothing like that place, man.
Yeah,
there's just nothing like
it. It's nothing I mean, that's people have the same. You have the same conversation about any university that you choose. Every school has its past, and we just so happen to have went to the University of Mississippi with its specific past. But I mean, that's all there is to it.
Yeah.
But I'm not, I don't hold that against it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just is what it is.
Because if it wasn't for that history, I
Yeah.
would not have been able to attend.
Yeah.
So
It's wild.
and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. So jumping back, I guess, to, talking about, that's just how they were raised and stuff. Like, that's one thing I look at myself, and especially lately, I mean, like, I don't know about you, I've got a decent bit of wedding action on my timeline anytime I'm scrolling through it, or like I got buddies and stuff who are married already and stuff.
I just
like,
had a friend ask for my address today.
Yeah, sending you that postcard. Like, man,
Yeah.
it's happening so much and stuff. And I guess this is just kind of how my brain works and stuff. But like, there's been so much of that lately and stuff, and especially within the past, say, year and a half, 2 years or whatever. But like, looking at myself and tying what I'm doing now to like a greater purpose, like oh, that's just how they were raised and stuff. But like, I don't want anybody saying that about my kids. I want to make sure I'm raising them in sound mindset and stuff, and treating people the right way, and raise them the right way according to to me, and obviously to God and my wife and families and all that and stuff. But like that starts with you. That's your kids are they're gonna mirror you.
Right.
And they're going to take on your tributes and your traits. Like, I'm sure you're seeing it. Like, you're picking up some of your family's traits, your dad's, your mom's traits and stuff as you get older. And I see that in myself. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm becoming my dad in certain ways and stuff. But like, I don't want that for my kid. I don't want them to look back and be like, man, like, my dad was this, he raised me the wrong way and stuff. So I'm trying to do and it seems a little bit far-fetched because, I mean, I'm single. But at the same time, like, I want to do right by not only myself and my wife and stuff, but by, like, my future kids. Because if I'm not doing that work takes a while. That internal work and stuff, like, you gotta break down a lot of barriers, really observe yourself critically, but in a loving and patient way that allows yourself to grow and stuff. And, like, I mean, I just don't. I want myself to be a specific way whenever that time comes and stuff, and, like,
and that's
whenever
what
we have kids.
To be. I think the word of the day of this podcast is intentional, you guys.
Hey.
And that's something you have to be intentional with, man, because you have to change that generational upbringing, in which I'm also trying to break a lot of generational things that like you just said, that I see myself from my mom and my dad, like a lot of shit that I want to do differently. Yeah. So
that's a great point, because trauma is very easily generational. Very easy to pass along, because, again, if you aren't intentional about it, and that goes back, tying it into the quote earlier, there's no such thing as pain without a purpose. Like, if you see all this pain and stuff and all these angry, upset people in your family's lineage and stuff, you got to take a step back and be like, all right, what's at the root of that, and know if it's cyclical and you're seeing it going down the line and stuff, it's going to hit you at some point if you don't navigate that and take a look at it, at least, and being intentional about it.
It has hit me.
Yeah.
It is hitting me.
Yep.
And it sucks.
Yep.
Because at the end of the day, it's like you see it, and the excuse is that it's because of this, it's because of them that I'm the way that I am. Yeah. But you want to do differently, so it's like, what do you do? How do you go about? I guess the first step is realizing that. Yeah. But realizing it and continuing to act differently upon it is the test.
Yeah. And being patient with yourself too, because, I mean, you know, I think I really started realizing some stuff for me internally and stuff probably junior year or so. I started picking up on things. I was like, all right, I can blame why I'm thinking this way and why I'm behaving this way and stuff. You gotta or you realizing it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, it's because of this. So you're accepting the fact. You're accepting that within you, that, like, hey, this is how they are, so hey, it is what it is. Yeah, and then look at you and be like, all right, I've got two choices. I can either operate like that, or I can not operate like that. And easy choice is obviously sit back and be like, I can't do anything about it, and then just go on about your life, pass down the trauma, pass down all this hurt and stuff, and, like, the cliche is hurt people, you know, and, like, you can keep continuing that cycle on and forever and stuff, but, like, or you can actively do that work to set yourself apart from it. That's not easy, man. That's not easy, because, you know, a lot of it for me, I think, was looking back and, I mean, being transparent and stuff, like how I treated people, you know, like I treated people in certain ways and stuff that was a heart issue for me. Like it was something in my heart that was getting in the way, and, like, I didn't see things a certain way and stuff. And again, kind of tying into the spiritual aspect, like I was so distant from God. Like, if God is love, like, how could I possibly know what that is if I'm not talking to him, like, except once every week, just once, you know, maybe on Sundays if I go, right? Like, so I had to take a look, like, you treat people a certain way, and then God, I think, shows us, is like, you see that person, like, you care a certain way about them and stuff, and then you have to look at how you treated them, and, like, you see the distance between you and them, and, like, in a relationship, friendship, all that and stuff, you'd be like, all right, like, that's because of me, right? I don't want that to happen again, so what do I need to do? What do I need to pay attention to? What signs can I pick up on? Because if you don't do that, like, you're going to cause yourself a lot of pain, and you're just going to keep passing it down. Like, if you don't do the internal work, like, that hurt is getting transferred. It's not just staying right here. Like, it's getting transferred to other people. And I think that kind of ties in with, you know, a lot of mindsets and stuff are generational.
What the atmosphere of, you know, Mississippi people.
Yeah.
Those sons of bitches are set in their ways.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
when
gonna
I say
take a
that
while,
state
man.
has a lot of progress to do.
If you haven't lived in Mississippi, I don't think you really realize
No,
it.
you don't realize.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I have family in Mississippi and stuff, but I didn't really understand. I was like, oh, like,
Until you
this
got
is the
there,
level we're talking
yeah.
about till I was there.
Yeah, and it's the same on both ends, like
Yeah.
in the black community. But I would have to say it's only we have our feelings, or at least my parents or my grandparents have their grandparents have their feelings because of the mere fact of intimidation throughout the years of so much hate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so from living through something like that and seeing, you know, just being a part of, like, the feeling of being something less than human is, you know, it's something hard to come from, you know, or come back from, or to at least be open about, or open to anything else other than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I would take my my granddad, for example. I love him, Jesse Hunnis, my dad's dad.
Yeah.
And he was the one that I was saying that he went to LSU in Florida.
Yeah.
And he is a guy that has seen it all. His dad was a sharecropper in Macomb, Mississippi. One of few black people that was able to obtain some land and farm, and was able to send his almost 6 out of the 8 kids to Alcorn.
It's incredible.
For college.
That's incredible.
And my granddad was able to, you know, he tells me stories all the time about how he had to walk 5 miles to school and back every day.
Man.
On the bus.
Yeah.
You know, like the white kids on the bus.
Driving by.
Probably
yelling at
shit,
him. Yeah.
You know, and to, you know, grow up with that, and now it's kind of hard to switch it up.
Yeah.
Which I would say is probably the same thing on your end.
Mm-hmm. No, I guess kind of segueing a little bit off a little bit heavier, kind of deeper stuff. I think one of the things that brought us together and started our friendship pretty quick was music.
Music,
like I said, jam and R&B and stuff. Like,
it's the universal language.
It is.
So
if
y'all haven't listened to any R&B, which I'm pretty sure if you know Spencer, he listens to all type of music.
For sure.
But R&B, hip hop, it's like, damn, these some pretty hip guys over here.
Yeah.
Y'all were putting me on to some shit that you put me on to Mac Miller.
Yeah, shout out Mac RP, man. Ty Dolla.
Ty
Dolla was the communal.
Yes.
You know, that was like the battle cry.
Yeah. It's the man, bro. We had many late night jam sessions, other type of sessions. And it was cool, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
so who are you listening to now? Because I mean, we probably sent a couple of songs here and there and stuff, but like nothing crazy. Who you been listening to?
Man, of course, one of my favorite rappers is Youngboy.
Nick was putting me on his album the other day. He sending me stuff, and I'm not a huge Youngboy guy, so I mean.
He's a guy that he reminds me of like like he's from Louisiana, so where I grew up, we listened to like a lot of like Boosie,
yeah.
and Wayne, Boosie and Wayne, and like he is a kid that is very versatile and like he puts everything that he goes through in
his music,
his life, in his music. He's a gangster rapper, man. I fuck with that gangster rap, and so like it's cool. And like, man, it's incarcerated right now.
Is he? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. See, I mean, I like I said,
he's
I'm not a huge
incarcerated,
young guy.
and he but hey, he got the #1 album out there,
Which is crazy. I'm sure he's one of a handful to do it. Wayne's probably on that list.
This stat just came out not too long ago. It was the 3 rappers that have been incarcerated and held the #1 album. I think it was Pac, Wayne, and the only 3. So
that says something.
It says a lot.
And even though I'm not like a huge fan of them and stuff like that doesn't just happen, right? But also like, you know, whenever somebody's putting on for Louisiana, like Louisiana rides for whoever it is, so they automatically have a huge following and stuff. Like if they're that level.
Yeah, and he has a major following, man. Like internationally.
Yeah.
I got one of his song lyrics.
Do you really? Wait, what lyric do you have?
It says, "Deceived emotions.
Uh-huh.
Choices already chosen.
Yeah.
Promises already broken."
So now, what's your take on that?
It
meant something to you.
It definitely means it's like deceit. Like in this world, like a lot of things are not what they're cracked up to be.
Yeah.
As far as like choices that we make or decisions that we make, we're still young adults, so we're still going through the flow of, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
But a lot of shit goes unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And so those choices, those promises that we make to ourselves can go unfulfilled and they can be broken. But on my end, I look at it as, I use it as motivation to do the opposite.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So right now I'm getting more better with, like, you know, I have my entrepreneur mind. So my goal for next year is to make my first investment. So if y'all watching this,
we're gonna connect on something. We'll connect on something for sure.
Hey, I'm asking for support. Y'all gonna see me. Follow me on Instagram.
Shameless plug. What's your at?
Quann King.
There you go.
Instagram.
Two N's.
Two N's. Is it? It's something. Yeah, Quann King. No. That's my Snapchat.
Oh, there you go. Follow my Snap too.
My Instagram is King Quann.
Now be careful. You only get 3 plugs.
King Quann 4_. That's me. King Quann 4. I never did that before, but that's it.
There you go.
Anyway, I'm making my first investment in something next year, and I have a few ideas. It's either going to be in the trucking industry, real estate, a brick and mortar business. Yeah.
And one thing, I mean, we'll hear more about in the next episode is cryptocurrency is a huge thing that we've gotten into over the past 2 years or whatever, maybe year and a half.
That's what I need some more knowledge about. Is I want to do crypto, and I want to do. My dad was actually telling me, like, he's been on to like penny stocks. I didn't know people like still invest in penny stocks like that anymore, but somehow he's so mind blown by it. Penny stocks, just, you know, ordinary stocks, all type of shit, man. Like,
there's too many ways to make money out there. Like, if you really aren't going out and actively trying to learn about different stuff, and like, you're just doing yourself a disservice.
And I think, but
in my opinion,
it's good to see that. I think at least our generation is getting more open to the idea of multiple streams of income.
For sure.
And at least trying to figure out how to do shit that, at least for me, it's shit that seems like, oh, that's for those other people or those other people.
Yeah.
But no,
everybody has access to everything now.
Especially in this digital age. It's like everything is attainable and everything is possible. It just takes that hard work and dedication, man. For real. Back to music, bro. Anyway, who the fuck are you listening to?
Man, it's kind of been. That's kind of tough to say. Like I really enjoyed Meek's new album. I liked his new album a lot.
I have yet to listen to it.
You need to listen. It's called Expensive Pain. Yeah. Like that one is really good to me. It's not. Check it out. I won't say it's my favorite by him, but it's my favorite in a while. Like it's one of those projects I found myself coming back to a decent bit. I'm trying to think who else off the top of my head.
Since we're R&B gurus,
we got that label. Do I have that label?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm an honorary R&B guru.
You up there, man. You up there. I've always listened to Aaliyah.
Yeah. I haven't listened to the
listen to her projects.
That project that came out.
They just have
the postpartum or not postpartum.
No, like what it is like ever since like she died or whatever, like her music has just been not available. Like whoever controls her estate has just kept it under wraps or whatever, but they finally released all of
it. Probably reached like the I'm sure there's some type of like 25-year holding period or whatever until the proceeds go back to the original owner or something.
They released all her music on streaming platforms. Yeah. And I've been jamming out to shit that I heard growing up and like
takes you back.
It's good. Like I really like Aaliyah, man.
Well, man, I appreciate you today. I know it was relatively last minute. I think I texted you like Monday, Tuesday or so, but
I was expecting it though. I was expecting my debut.
Hey, no, shout out. You look good in front of the camera, got the lights and stuff. Shout out Ty. Thank you, Ty, man. Like you made it look legit and stuff, but no, I'm appreciative of you and your time, and I value our relationship, man. I'm glad we stay in touch and stuff, because a lot of people don't really do that. You know, they graduate and grow distant and stuff, but
it's all love, bro.
For sure, always. That's something I try. And again, I told you I'm kind of in a regression in terms of my. I taken a step back in terms of my mentality and like my focus and stuff. But like, man, that's something I want to try and be sure to do all the time, is just all love all the time to anybody and stuff, and like just do right by people.
That's what it's about, man.
Yeah, that's why me and you vibe so well. It's like it's always love.
Always, bro.
But man, I appreciate you letting me take up your place. But
no problem, bro.
Man, you're gonna be back on
again pretty soon.
For sure,
you
for sure. You'll be back
about
on.
A few more other things.
Easy. We'll have a whole episode probably on the entrepreneurship space, because there's a lot to talk about there. I think
maybe I may come back. You know, once, like I said, y'all hold me to it.
We'll hold you to it over here.
Investing, bro.
Hey, no, we're on it over here. So we'll get you and you met Jeremy. We'll get y'all tapped in and stuff too, to just kind of some stuff we've been on. It's nothing crazy, but we'll tap in.
Love the network.
But man, I appreciate it. You'll be back. You'll be back.
For sure.
Thank you guys. We'll be back soon.
Tell me something that I don't know, like if your soul want me dead. Ignore the signs in my face, I pray that God never let. And everybody else around here watch me run up my check and let me blow it